you, Dina and company. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Oh, wait, we ready to go? Yes, we are. Thought we had a little more music starting. So welcome to Unity Center for Spiritual Growth. It is our Sunday service celebration for Sunday, July 9th. My name is Kim Copperthwaite. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees here at Unity, and our Reverend Pat is on a much-deserved vacation, and she asked me to keep the service flowing along, and I will do my very best. So I want to welcome everybody in the sanctuary today. I also want to wave to our camera and welcome everybody online. You are all a blessing, whether you are here in person or here over our internet. Reverend Pat usually says something about the weather. We had a little glimmer of sunshine. This isn't real Unity, but I'm a big believer in complaining and groaning and getting it out a little bit. So yeah, we've had gray, kind of yucky summer weather for Maine, but after I grumble, I like to elevate it a bit. And I thought back to some history I knew. In 1860, in Maine, it was the summer that never happened. And some of you are nodding, you know this. It was a summer of 40-degree weather and snow throughout the summer. And I read a little bit about it, and it was an anomaly, a climate anomaly that had something to do with volcanic activities and sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere. But I said, well, we at least can go there and think it's not as bad. So hoping for some more sunshine, but here we are with our grayness. We have a guest speaker today, and many of you know him from Chime. Reverend Jacob Watson is here today. He will be speaking. His title of his talk is Spiritual Companionship for Yourself and Your Community. So welcome, Reverend Watson. We are going to start with our opening song, and I invite you to stand, if you so choose, House Built on Love. Be seated and join me for an opening prayer as we start our time together for this 1 hour where we're together in our sanctuary. And drop into your heart space, close your eyes if you feel comfortable, take a nice deep breath. Whatever you came in to the room with today, know that this is a space of comfort and peace. You may have come in with something heavy on your mind, or your heart, or your body. And I like to use the words up behind me on our beautiful window, be still. So whatever you're holding that is uncomfortable, let it go for just this time. Peace, be still. And allow Spirit to move through your body as it moves through this room, which is a place of love. And we send that peace and love and stillness out into the world, our community. If there's anybody specific on your mind that is on a path that is difficult right now, please send that love to that person. If you'd like to speak their name out loud to give it more energy, please feel free to do that now. And include yourself in that comfort. And please hold these words with me as we send that love farther out into the world. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings awaken to the light of their own true nature. And may all beings be free. Together we hold this power as the truth. We accept it for ourselves and the whole world. We affirm this to be the truth, and so it is, and we let it be. Thank you, God. And now is the time in the service where we do our invocation and our vision statement. I invite you to join me in standing if you choose, or you may sit. So our vision statement at Unity is, together we say it, centered in divine love, we celebrate a spiritually transformed world, a world that we can hold in our vision and our heart in the practice that we just did, sending that love out into the world. Reverend Matt, the invocation, I forgot it. First, the invocation. There is only one, he's pointing, Reverend Matt's present, in the universe and in my life. God, the good, omnipotent, one power, one presence in our life. We've got our vision going already. Mission statement. Any center for spiritual growth reaches in to reach out through education, service, and creation of community. And we have core values. Our core values are, we are loving, we are accepting, we are authentic, we are transformative, we are soul-centric, we are compassionate, and we are welcoming. And you may be seated. Thank you. And we have a song.
Congregational song is a song by Melinda Wood Allen, You Are Love.
Thank you. Now is the time in our service where we welcome newcomers. Is there anybody visiting us for the first time? We have a packet of information for you on Unity as a movement, so you can go ahead and raise your hand. And I think we have one here, so welcome. And you're a friend of Jan's? Oh, good, awesome. Thanks for coming today. So inside that packet, there is a sticker. If you are willing, you could put that on. After the service, we do have coffee. People will know that you're a new person and greet you. There's also a place in there for you to fill in your name and your email address if you'd like to get some information from us. We send out 2 emails a week, one that tells you what's happening here and one that reminds you of the Sunday service. So thank you very much for being with us. All right, so now we greet one another, and if you would please stand, we will do our Namaste greeting. Thank you, and you may be seated. If you visit any Unity Church anywhere in the world, our beliefs are based on these 5 basic principles. They are sometimes worded a little bit differently in each church, but the core of them is the same. So let's review them. Reverend Pat calls them our spiritual toolkit to get us through the week, and I have been studying Unity for a long time, and I still review them and still work on understanding them. So our first Unity principle is God is good and everywhere present. And at Unity, we have many ways of saying God. So if spirit works for you, or nature, or any other word, goddess, it is essentially the God energy is in, through, and around all beings and all things, and always accessible and present in our lives. Our second one is the Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We come into the world as an original blessing, and we are made and created in the likeness of that God and spiritual energy. And sometimes our life circumstances gives us messages that are otherwise, and sometimes our life work is getting back to that original beauty and love that we are. Also, as I'm going through these, think if you have any story that you could share that relates to any of these, because we'll be sharing when I get done. So number 3, we create our life experiences through our ways of thinking. For me, for my personal process, I mentioned that sometimes I have to grumble and acknowledge that human side of this is bothering me or this is irritating me. But learning how to shift out of that after you acknowledge that is kind of, I know, my life work. and being able to tap into abundance and joy, even when circumstances look otherwise. Because how we think and how we perceive is our power and our strength. Number 4, there is power in affirmative prayer, which we believe increases our connection to God. To me, this is a principle of discipline and practice, always kind of shifting out of that ego monkey mind and tuning in and connecting with God, spiritual energy that is a constant support in our lives. And the last one, knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. We're here on earth. We are physical beings. We have to go into action to make things happen. Sometimes it's just subtle actions of thinking or habits or rituals or practices. Sometimes it's big actions, big life changes that we kind of have to go into with courage. And when I say the word courage, do you know the angel cards we use, those little cards that we pull? I remember the first time I pulled one, I pulled the word courage, and I was baffled by the little image that was on it. There was an angel, and if you look at it, it's an angel, and she has her eye, I think her hand is over her eyes or her eyes is closed, and she's going like this. So to me, that symbolized having courage even though you have fear, walking into something, even if you have reservations, but you know you have to go forward. Courage doesn't always look like brave. It could be, I'm going to do this, I'm a little nervous. So just taking action is that last one. So is there anybody here today, when I go through these principles, something sparked in your mind that you wanted to share that relates to any of them? Yes, come on up. Would you? Yeah, would you? Yeah. We've been using this microphone, but I think we can do this one. And this is tricky. It's just talking straight into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. What I wanted to share was about kindness. And that's one that I struggle with because kindness can also be saying no at times. But this week, I needed to pick up some things at Whole Foods Market. And lately, I don't know what is up with them, but there never seem to be enough carts. And I really do need one. That's kind of how I manage at about 16 or 17 weeks from a hip replacement to get through the whole store a few times. And I went out into the parking lot and I'm getting ready to put my bags away and I'm thinking to myself, gosh, I don't think I can quite make it to walk that cart back up to the front, even though I was in the handicap space. And a woman, I don't know if she was about my age, looked like perhaps she was, walked up to me and she said, I said, would you like the cart? She said, yes, and I'm gonna help you put your bags in the car. And she did. She proceeded to help me put those bags in my car, and I gave her the card and off we both went. And I just thought that was such a simple, beautiful expression of just remembering kindness and just remembering to do whatever little things that we can for people. And of course, that's a very positive energy type of thing. So that's what you're going to attract into your life as well. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? I'm seeing a thought bubble, Rev Aaron, but I'm seeing it. Jacqueline. Jacqueline is also our prayer partner today for After the Service. Here you go, and right into the top of that mic.
Good morning, everyone. This one, well, it has to do all of them, but just to put it into practice, I'm going to be performing my niece's wedding this summer, and it's going to be a really big wedding, which is different for me, and so there's a little bit more planning, so I was starting to feel really anxious this morning. It's getting closer and closer, and so going into meditation and relaxing myself and getting myself centered, and then using the affirmative prayer, which prayer partners are now using. I affirm that the perfect timing is going to take place, is everything's going to go smooth. I only can do what I can do now, which is to keep myself centered and keep the positive outlook and let go of the worry, because I can't do anything about it at the moment. So there we go.
Thank you for sharing. I knew it. I saw it coming. Many of you know I'm a teacher, and we're always taught for wait time. So when you ask a question, you wait. I saw it bubbling.
I'm a reflective thinker, and it goes well with being a chaplain at the hospital. But this is about my work as a contractor and a caretaker of an estate. And I'm just resting on the wonderful love and appreciation and great moments that I had with the family yesterday when they had their family reunion. And I got to speak with one of the cousins who wrote a book about her work in Albania and Kosovo with the refugees who were in the camp that she was in charge of, and just the relationships that build over time. And I just feel so full of gratitude and so full. And part of my credo is that life is consciousness, and the relationship that you show up as, the presence that you show up as dictates how the relationship unfolds. So it's just keeps happening.
Thank you. Awesome. Great sharing today. Thank you, everybody. It's time for our daily word, and my friend Janice Murphy, you're reading today, so come on down. I'll get you on the right day. Here we go. There we go. You got it.
Good morning, everyone. Good to be here. Our daily word today is power. I look within and discover my power. Great power lies within me, like a treasure chest full of gold and precious jewels buried in my own backyard. It is so close that I sometimes overlook it, leading me to search near and far, seeking strength and value outside myself. Yet my power is in my potential, a gift for me to discover. I am endowed with wisdom, love, and creativity, gemstones meant to be uncovered and shared with the world. I am rich in my capacity to use these gifts to reach goals and create my life with intentionality. As I think, speak, and behave in accordance with my divine abilities, I share my treasures. I bring into the light the hidden parts of myself, knowing my power comes from expressing my best self. And from Ephesians 2:10, for we are what he has made us, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand to be our way of life. Today's word is power.
Love it. Thank you, Janice. We have some special music.
Thank you. To open up Reverend Jacob's talk this morning, this is a song by David Alt. I'm here to remind you. I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to
Reverend Jacob Watson helped start Collins Brook School and the Center for Grieving Children, and founded the Interfaith Chaplaincy Institute of Maine, known as CHIME, where he served as instructor and abbot. Jacob served as a hospice chaplain. He currently provides spiritual companionship for groups and individuals. He is a meditator, teacher, and author of the book, We're Gainin', Enzo. And I do know he brought some books with him today, which will be nice to look at, and they're available in the entryway as you come in. The title of his talk, I mentioned before, Spiritual Companionship for Yourself and Your Communities. I cannot wait to hear his thoughts and his words. Would you please join me in welcoming Jacob to the platform?
It was a nice try. Okay, I'll use the microphone. So a word about spiritual companionship. I just have to say it's wonderful to be back here, and I feel at home here. And the word spiritual has already been described in many of your principles and many of your descriptions of what you do here, and I feel very grateful. For me, the idea of spiritual is that which doesn't ever go away, that which is always present, that which is timeless and spaceless. And as you've been reminded, we're human. So we have, as I'll describe in a minute, our natural emotions. We have all of this body, this stuff, these feelings, all these qualities of being human. And yet, as you well know by sitting here and partaking of what's going on here, we are spiritual as well. So the word spiritual is essential. It's part of who we are. We are spiritual. Okay, so we're human as well. So that's the companionship part, because we need companions as well. There's a sense of, especially maybe at 3 a.m., where is everybody? They're not here. Okay, I remember a few friends. I have some family members that are interested in what I'm doing and how I am, but it's 3 a.m. and I'm sad, or I'm pissed off, I'm angry, or I'm in love, and the person that I love isn't beside me. So that's the 3 a.m. part, the spiritual companionship part. The two parts of being on this planet, the spiritual part and the companionship part. I want to propose to you that you are never alone. You are never alone, even at 3 a.m. You're human. You might not have the friends you want. You might not have the relationship you want. But when you open up your spiritual being, you are never alone. And that is a revolutionary statement. If you can take that into your being and understand that you are never alone. I have one page of notes that I'm going to refer to occasionally to keep me on track here. So let's go to the human part, the natural emotion part. This is something that I learned from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross a number of years ago when I was working with her. And she was a wonderful teacher. She was what I call a modern-day mystic. The downside was that she never attributed what she said to anybody else. Listening to her, you would think she made it up herself. Not true. But she was a wonderful translator. And in that sense, she described our feelings, our natural emotions, as indeed that natural. Natural. We feel because we're human. Whether it's grief, whether it's fear, whether it's anger, or whether it's love. We are made of those feelings. And as I've learned to say over the years and live myself, as we become aware of those feelings, and the second part, very important, express them, find a way to express those feelings out loud, first of all, in a safe place, not hurting anyone else and not hurting yourself. We open up and indeed create pathways to the spiritual. So that's a talk all by itself. When we acknowledge that awareness, we become conscious of what we feel, and we find safe ways to express those feelings. Sometimes it's all by ourselves, in our living room or around the kitchen table. I'm sad. I'm happy. I'm upset. All of the language. You know, this goes back to me being an English teacher years ago. But when we say it's hard or life is difficult, what we mean by that is that we're feeling feelings about our life. We're in love, we're sad, we're grieving, whatever it is, when we say those words, hard and difficult. So watch your language, and as you listen to other people, become more aware. When you say those words, they're about feeling. They're about your emotional life. So these natural emotions need to be acknowledged and said out loud. Sometimes there's a sound. So I'm going to invite you, we're going to go through each of the feelings, starting with grief. And I'm going to invite you to express a sound, never mind words. We're in the territory where words don't count, or they're not important, or you have to go into your intellect to find the right word, not important. The sound is what's important. Grief. Ah! Had the courage to express the feeling in a safe place here. There's a little moment before your judgments. Okay, by now your judgments have probably kicked in. That was loud, or Jacob was making a face, or whatever. Okay, what I want to encourage you to do is be conscious of expressing the feeling and that moment, that split second probably, before the human judgments come in. I wasn't loud enough, or I was too loud, or what about the person next to me? Was she worried? Or all of the rest of those are judgments. And I'm moving towards acknowledging that split second before the judgment kicks in. All right. The next feeling we'll do is fear. Oh! One more time. Oh! So we had the courage to express whatever it is, the fear that you brought in here this morning. And you did that. And that split second again, that consciousness before the judgment kicks in is critical. It's, for me, full of freedom, where I don't have to make a judgment as a human being. I can just experience whatever the feeling is. So grief, fear. Next one is anger. stated, even if it's just in your breath. You express that little slice of anger. But you know what? Because you expressed one little slice, that gives you the permission and indeed the tools to express other anger. Maybe it's just another time when it's just that short, or maybe it's 5 minutes worth. Maybe it's in your living room and you're pounding on the couch. Safe, the couch doesn't matter, okay? You're not hurting another person. You're expressing the emotions. Elizabeth used to use ripped up old telephone books, okay? There hardly are any, no more telephone books. Okay? But those were wonderful ways to express. Sometimes it needs to be physical. It's not just the sound. All right. So the next feeling is love. Again, remember that the overall heading of these feelings are natural emotions. We feel them because we're human. One more time. Okay, expressions of love. And then again, there's that split second before, oh, I was remembering George at home, or whatever. That's the human part. Fine, we're human. But before that happens, before the judgments, before the memories, before the recollections of George, is that split second, that wonderful freedom of expressing the feeling, being conscious of that, and not making a judgment. Okay? So remember that process of being able to identify the feeling and express it out loud safely, and keep that, well, I'll describe, keep the awareness going. I'll describe the awareness cycle from Gestalt therapy. That can imagine a circle with a slice, a very thin slice out of the top. And that slice at the top is awareness. So your awareness of whatever feeling that you carry as a human, it moves around in your unconscious. You carry all these feelings in your unconscious. And eventually, when the time is right, thank you, Spirit, when the time is right, it pops up, the feeling pops up into that slice at the top of the circle, and you express it. You say it. I'm in love. I'm sad. I'm grieving. Therefore, allowing another feeling to come up and be expressed in the present moment. And that's a cycle of health. Remember sometimes when you feel upset or your life's not going very well, you feel, I'm stuck. Well, what's stuck is that movement. And how you get unstuck is to allow whatever it is you're feeling in the present moment, that thin slice at the top of the circle. Express that, and therefore it allows another space at the top of the circle for another expression. And you keep your awareness going. You keep your consciousness going. So I wanted to describe that to you. For me, in the last couple of years, the most prevalent feeling was grief. My wife, Christine, died from a sudden heart attack about 2 years ago. And all of my teachings came up to the front. All of the encouragements by Elizabeth to express what you feel were present for me in a way that I had no idea. At her memorial service, I decided that I needed to speak, and I wanted to speak, but I didn't know what to say. So I trusted myself enough to stand up without any notes. I don't think I even had a microphone. It was out at Cape Elizabeth. And the first thing I said when I looked out and I saw my family in the front and Christine's friends was, Christine was a truth teller. And this is brutal. And I used that word again, brutal. This was brutal. The feelings were coming 24/7, all the time, mostly grief, sometimes anger, but mostly grief, and particularly love. There was fear as well about the future, but in the present moment, it was mostly grief. When I say it out loud, it comes back, and there's a little piece still present right here, right now, of grief. And when I expressed grief a little while ago, it was there as well. So it's not like it goes away, but it diminishes. In this last year, year and a half, I've discovered something that is not politically correct. I discovered the gifts of grief. What? The gifts of grief? No, you're grieving. This is my words to myself. Well, wait a minute. So, probably 3 or 4 months after Christine died, I had a minor legal problem come up, something about the house. But I was fierce about not being distracted from my grief. I knew it was natural, so I wanted to stay with my grief. I didn't want this legal distraction. So I asked for help. I asked my neighbor right next door to come over, and she's an attorney, and she and her husband came over the next night and sat on my couch. I think he was afraid I was going to ask him to take my molar out or something because he was a dentist, but I wanted her. And I started to describe my issue about the house, and I need legal advice and so forth. And she stopped me halfway through I had this very logical, this is what I want, this is what I need. She leaned forward and said, "Jacob, I'm on it. Don't worry. I'll take care of it." In my wildest dreams, that's exactly what I wanted. So I exchanged a couple of details. I emailed her the next morning, and that was it. I didn't have to ever think about it again, and literally I haven't. But it wouldn't go away. And the next day I thought, well, no, Jacob, she's taking care of it. Still wouldn't go away. I mean, I knew that my work was to let go of it, really give it to her, okay, let her take care of it. 3 days later, 4 days later, still it's like this little hand tapping me on the shoulder. And then suddenly, without any reason, I got it. I got it. She was speaking as the divine feminine there on my couch, in my living room. And she was saying those words to me. "Jacob, don't worry about it. I've got it. I'll take care of it. You're fine. I'll take care of you." That wasn't the attorney next door. That was the divine feminine leaning forward and looking me right in the eye. So that's when I opened up and realized, oh, there are gifts about this grief. Another one came some months later. I'm a sailor. I grew up sailing. Christine was not a sailor. She lived in the Midwest. She became a really good first mate because she learned as much as she could. All right. But she wasn't going to go sailing anymore. The last time we went, she said, "Jacob, if you fall overboard, I'm cooked." And she was right about that. So I thought, well, maybe we'll take one of those schooners from Camden, and let somebody else do the sailing and the cooking and so forth. And she said, "No, I don't want to go down below in those cabins." And she was right. They're really tiny. But long about March, I said, "I'm going to go sailing." And it turned out that that was another gift that she gave me. She wasn't going to go. I was going to go this time. And I went on the schooner American Eagle for a cruise of about 6 or 7 days. So we're on the schooner. There's not very many passengers, which is great. Probably just 8 of us, I think, and you usually have 24. So we're sailing out of Boothbay Harbor, and it's a beautiful day. The wind's beginning to pick up. And I look over, and there's bubbles coming across the ocean. Bubbles, like the kind you blow. And I thought, well, where are those coming from? And there's nothing to impede them, so they kept coming, and they kept floating over the boat. And I looked over, and a little off in the distance, there was a little sailboat and a girl about, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old, blowing bubbles. And again, there was nothing to stop them, so they kept floating through the air. And we got a lot of bubbles on the schooner. So those were more gifts of grief. And then the next day, we were out at sea, and I was lying on the deck, kind of dozing, enjoying being out there and the sun and the wind and the space and the ocean. And I began to hear voices, like a chorus, like kind of a chanting, and no song, no words, but very distinct. I sat up and looked around. The captain's sailing the boat, the crew members are doing their thing, and a couple other passengers around reading. Nothing. But this was very, very insistent. A loud chorus of voices, chanting, singing, and I just lay down and took it in. Went on for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, more and more. Another gift of grief, because I was out there and I was listening to really the ocean. The ocean, I think, was giving me their blessing, their voices, their love. So those are a couple of gifts of grief. And they have continued, and they continue to this day being here with you. I want to go back to awareness, my awareness of the gifts of grief and the awareness cycle of keeping that flowing so that you don't get stuck. You become conscious. And as I suggested a minute ago, the whole idea of, it's a revolutionary idea, I will never be alone again. Obviously, this is transcending the spiritual realm and being, sort of acknowledging that you are a spiritual being so that you have that spiritual connection all the time. And that's what spiritual companionship is, the sense that you are connected not just with friends and family and people that care about you and people that ask, how are you? But they really ask because they want to hear the truth. It's not just some kind of social thing. They want to hear the truth. That's the human part. The spiritual part, I call that the 3 a.m. part. That's the part where you are never alone. Your friends may have abandoned you. Your family grew away, perhaps. But you are not alone because you have a connection to the spiritual. Whatever you call that, as Unity does a good job expressing a lot of different ways to describe that. So that's the connection that you have so that you're never, ever alone. So I want to take this into our meditation and remind you that every time that you make space for yourself, it's for yourself first, but for that part of you that is human, first that you have the natural emotions. You have a way to express what you really feel, not what you're supposed to feel, not what your family wants you to feel, but what you really feel. And it may be completely off the wall, but the point is that it's yours. It's your feeling, and you're giving yourself the permission, if you will, to express that. And you do so. You find a way to do that safely. And you're honest with yourself about what that is. And then that split second where you express the feeling, and then it's like your consciousness knows that's what you need to do. And so you do that. And then there's that split second without judgments. No human judgments. Oh, that was too long, or that was just right. None. And I want to emphasize, too, that this happens in this same principle works when it's a, quote, positive judgment. Oh, that was great. That's still a judgment. It could have gone the other way. That really sucked. But it didn't. Okay? The point is that it's a judgment. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do, is let go of any judgment and just be consciousness. Allow yourself to have the feeling, express whatever it is, and then let go so that you inhabit that consciousness, that I call it precious, and I call it some consciousness that's full of freedom because you don't have to make a judgment. And I want you to practice that in your life as you walk out of here in a little while, but also as we move into meditation. Okay. You are consciousness. So allow the consciousness to come as you meditate. And just notice when you make the judgment. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And let go. And just inhabit that space that is pure consciousness. That is who you really are. I'm going to stop talking now and allow you to do that.
When I'm quiet and pray, I open my heart. I open my heart. When I'm quiet and pray, I open my heart. Hallelujah. When I'm quiet and pray, I see only love, see only love. When I'm quiet and pray, I see only love. Hallelujah.
More of our human side, our announcement, all the things that are happening for the week ahead. The day after the service, our prayer partner will be right here in the sanctuary if you would like somebody to pray with you, Jacqueline. And I believe this corner here, so if you have something you would like someone to sit and hold space with you and pray with you, Jacqueline is available. A Course in Miracles is happening today with Reverend Matt Purinton. Where will you meet, Matt? Children's Church, okay. Right in the building here or the cottage? Inside, okay, so the 2 rooms here in the building. Unity Women's Adventure Group is happening on July 13th, that is Thursday, 6:30 p.m. right here at the church. Bring a chair. If the weather is nice, the group will meet outdoors. And I believe, Christine, you're going to be working with meditation with the group? Awesome. All right. So please come. Unity Women's Adventure Group this Thursday. On Friday, July 14th, we have Kirtan from 7 to 9 p.m. with Todd Glacy and his musical friends. If you've never been to a Kirtan celebration, it's singing and response and very spiritual and some chanting. So again, that's on Friday the 14th. Next Sunday, for our service. Next Sunday is July 16th. We have a guest speaker. Our guest speaker is Reverend Bronte Colbert, and Bronte will be speaking about our spiritual toolkits, what helps us stay centered when life seems to knock us off course. So that's next Sunday. We have on the Sunday after that, July 23rd, Pam Albee will be doing, I think Pam is here, she'll be doing a Expand Your Spiritual and Metaphysical Knowledge, a workshop on using Oracle and Tarot cards. That's going to be right after the service on Sunday, July 23rd, 11:45 to 2:45. Bring your lunch and join us. Registration is required and the cost is $30. And I believe we need to get a registration form up on the bulletin board so people can sign up. Back by popular demand, also another workshop with Pam will be EFT workshop, Emotional Freedom Technique. So she'll be doing that on Saturday, July 29th, the end of the month, from 1:30 to 4:30. That's on a Saturday. The cost for that is $40, and there are follow-up practice sessions for those who attended her first workshop. We have our community meeting coming up at the end of the month, July 30th. That will be 11:45 after the service on Sunday, July 30th. And finally, looking into fall, we have our women's retreat. That is now open for registration. It's going to be 2 nights this year. It will be October 27th to the 29th. That's a Friday and a Saturday night. The theme is We Are the Light, Let's Shine. And Deb Engel, author of The Only Little Prayer You Need, Let Your Spirit Guide Speaks, she's going to be leading the retreat. It is 2 people per room, 2 nights, end of October, just before Halloween. And I forgot where it is, but it's in a new spot.
Ferry Beach.
Ferry Beach, okay, in Saco, right? Yeah. All right, so if you are a woman interested in joining that, we do have some brochures on the table out in the entryway. So it is time for us to do our offering. And I want to explain what's on the table. If you haven't been here in a while, we have our bowl that has affirmations. So we'd like everybody to come up and take an affirmation. There's one in here that is meant especially for you, that is important for you to read today, right in the bowl. Many of us give online. If you'd like to do a physical symbol of your giving, I love to do that. Pick that up and put that in to the offering bowl. And there are little tags up here. The tags are for you to put a message of peace out into the world for our peace tree. If you'd like to do that, grab a tag. There are pens on the backs of the chairs. You can write a little message and let it out onto the tree, out into the world. If you would like to do automatic giving, here is the form. You can put that into the bowl. I think we need a second bowl. We usually have a second one up here. Well, we'll figure it out. Any bowls around? Is there one back there? Where is it? It's usually the glass bowl. I think it's in the office. Yeah, so Janice will go get that. So while she's doing that, we can take, if you have a physical offering that you're going to put into the bowl, put that into your hand. But if you'd like just to represent that, you can think of it in your hand. But when you give, it is a representation of your power and your acknowledgement of the unlimited source of abundance that's always with you. So let's say our offering statement together. Divine love flowing from me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, for the joy of giving, and thank you, Janice, for the giving bowl. We got our bowl. Thank you. And you can come on up.
While the offering's being taken, please join us in singing I Am So Blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed.
please join me in blessing these tithes and offering as we send them out into the world with all of the energy that we've created in this room. This is the action that helps us put out and create a spiritually transformed world. And for our ability to give, we are so very grateful. Thank you, God. Amen. And the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a blessed week, everybody.